We have to be honest with ourselves. What Ryan Poles pulled off in this draft isn't just good, it is absolutely legendary. We aren't just talking about a couple of starters. We are looking at a rookie class that has fundamentally altered the trajectory of this franchise forever. The Chicago Bears didn't just participate in the draft, they conquered it. Before we dive into the numbers that will blow your mind, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this video with a fellow Bears fan, and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss a second of this playoff run. It is officially a new year, the playoffs are finally upon us, and the Chicago Bears are in the thick of the fight. It feels good to say that, doesn't it? But amidst the playoff fever and the wild card anticipation, we need to take a step back and appreciate the architecture of this roster. Because when we look back at the 8 names called during the draft, we have to give the general manager his flowers. Let's be real for a second. How often does a GM actually hit on half of his draft class? Almost never. It's a lottery. But look at what we have here. You have Colston Loveland at 10th overall. You have Luther Burden 3 at 39, which, let's be honest, might go down as the steal of the decade. You grabbed Ozzy Trapilo at 56, Shamar Turner at 62, Ruben Hippolyte 2 at 132, Zay Frazier at 169, Luke Newman providing depth, and then Kyle Monangai in the 7th round. I'm ready to make a declaration right now, before the wild card game even kicks off. We are 1 season in, and Ryan Poles has secured 4 absolute, bona fide hits. That is a 50% hit rate on starters and stars. Let's break it down. Colston Loveland? He is undeniable. He's not just a tight end, he is a matchup nightmare. You can't put a linebacker on him, you can't put a safety on him. He is a 3-down weapon. Then you look at Luther Burden. The guy is an absolute demon. We are talking about a player with genuine wide receiver 1 potential who fell to the 2nd round. Then you look at the trenches. Ozzy Trapilo. Everyone asked about his ceiling, but at the very minimum, you have found a rock-solid left tackle. And then the cherry on top, Kyle Monangai. Call him a starter, call him a rotation piece, it doesn't matter. He and DeAndre Swift are a legitimate 1-2 punch. When you get 4 players of this caliber in a single weekend, that is how you build a championship window. Even beyond those 4, you have contributors. Shamar Turner is coming off that torn ACL, and while we aren't expecting him to turn into Chris Jones overnight, we are finally seeing flashes of production off the edge. Luke Newman stepped in for a quarter when Jonah Jackson went down and looked competent, surpassing Ryan Bates on the depth chart as a 6th rounder. That is value. Sure, there are unknowns. Ruben Hippolyte has been a healthy scratch for nearly double-digit games, which hurts given his athletic profile, and Zay Frazier has been on the NFI list all year. But even if those 2 don't pan out, look at the batting average. For massive hits, 1 or 2 solid contributors? That is a masterclass. But I want to focus on something specific that shows just how special this group is. The efficiency numbers for the top 2 picks are staggering. There was a graphic circulating recently that broke down Caleb Williams' passer rating when targeting specific players. When Caleb targets Luther Burden, his rating is 125.5. When he targets Colston Loveland, it's 124.1. Do you know what the rating is when he targets literally anyone else on the roster? It's 80. Think about that for a second. The 2 rookies are, by a mile, the most efficient weapons for our quarterback. When you look at the production, it's even crazier. Loveland has hauled in 48 catches on 69 targets for over 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 13 yards per catch. Those are elite numbers for a rookie tight end. Burden is right there with him, 44 catches, over 600 yards. But here is the stat that should have every Bears fan screaming from the rooftops. Luther Burden has the highest yards per route run for a rookie in NFL history at 2.98. That is unheard of. Basically, every single time this kid runs a route, he generates 3 yards of offense. You aren't getting the ball every play, so to have that level of efficiency is practically impossible. Obviously, as his volume increases over the years, that number might dip, but it proves that when he is on the field, he is making plays. I truly believe we are looking at two future stars. Loveland is the prototype for the modern NFL. Move him around, exploit mismatches, and he blocks well too. And Burden? He is already one of the most dynamic players with the ball in his hands in the entire league, not just among rookies. Did you see the 49ers game? They couldn't touch him. He was the most dominant player on the field. So, this brings me to the big debate, and I really want to hear from you on this one. Question of the day: 5 years from now, who ends up being the better player? Is it the mismatch nightmare Colston Loveland, or the explosive playmaker Luther Burden? Type CL for Loveland or LB for Burden in the comments right now. It is so tough to choose. Loveland gives you that run-blocking utility, but Burden plays with a level of twitchiness that you just can't teach. Honestly, I'm just glad they are both wearing navy and orange because they are going to be terrorizing defenses for a long time. Now, let's pivot to the most critical position on the offensive line. Is Ozzy Trapilo the long-term answer at left tackle? We have a smaller sample size here, only about 6 starts at the position, but the data is promising. We know PFF grades can be a bit subjective, but for offensive linemen, they are usually a solid indicator. Trapilo is sitting at a 70 overall grade. Remember, 60 is average. He is playing notably above average football as a rookie. He's better in pass protection than run blocking, which we expected, but his run blocking is trending upward. He's only flagged for 2 penalties and has given up just 2 sacks. Is he perfect? No. But is he an upgrade over Braxton Jones? Absolutely. He's a better pass protector than Theo Benedict, even if Theo has the edge in the run game. Here is why this matters so much for the future of the Bears. You already have a stellar offensive line from left guard to right tackle. If Trapilo can just be an above-average left tackle, this line is set through 2027. Everyone is under contract. That stability is priceless. It gives Ryan Poles massive flexibility this offseason. Remember back in September when we were shuffling tackles and panicking? We thought we'd have to burn a first-round pick on a tackle. Now, you don't have to. You can bring in a veteran for depth, sure, or draft a development guy in the middle rounds, but you don't need to spend top draft capital there. This means you can use those early picks to hammer the defense. You can make a splash trade for a pass rusher, which is clearly the biggest hole on this roster right now. Ozzy Trapilo stabilizing that left side unlocks the entire offseason strategy. And finally, we have to talk about the revelation of the 7th round. Kyle Monangai. This was my favorite pick in the draft at the time, and he has been nothing short of fantastic. They brought him along slowly, but since the bye week, he has been electric. You could make a legitimate argument that he has been the best 7th round pick in the entire league. Sure, J.K. Krosky-Merritt has been great, but he was a starter from day one. Monangai has carved out a role in a split backfield and excelled. He is efficient, he is physical, and he is the perfect complement to Swift. He had a rough patch with drops in early December, but he cleaned that up fast. His hands have actually been a pleasant surprise compared to his college tape at Rutgers. When you look at the rookie rushing leaders, Monangai is 5th. Look at a guy like Ashton Jeanty. He's the lead back, getting all the volume, but he's averaging 3.7 yards per carry. Monangai is vastly more efficient. He is neck and neck with guys drafted in the 2nd round like Travian Henderson and Quinton Judkins. Monangai was the 22nd running back taken in this class. 22nd. And he is sitting just 92 yards away from 1,000 all-purpose yards for the season. We are all rooting for Caleb to hit 4,000 passing yards, but if Monangai hits 1,000 all-purpose yards as a 7th rounder? That is a monumental achievement. If you have Swift over 1,300 yards and Monangai over 1,000, that is an elite backfield constructed for pennies on the dollar. That is a winning formula. So, when you look at the whole picture, how can you not be excited? You have 2 potential superstars in Loveland and Burden. You have a starting left tackle in Trapilo. You have a starting caliber running back in Monangai. And you still have upside with Shamar Turner on the defensive line, which we know needs help. Ryan Poles has taken some heat in the past, but we have to give credit where it is due. To hit on 4 players like this in one single class? That is impressive. I want to know where you stand. I want you to grade Ryan Poles' 2025 draft class. Give me a letter grade A, B, C, D, or F in the comments section below. Personally, I think the arrow is pointing straight up. We have the talent, we have the depth, and now we have the playoffs. Let's enjoy the ride. Thank you so much for watching, Happy New Year, and as always, bear down.